Hey everyone, Once Bitten here at the Battle Report. These are my Bretonnians versus a Dwarf army, and I've called this the Invisible Force Field. It's kind of an interesting build on a Dwarf army. We've got an Anvil of Doom Rune Lord back there, and in front of him he's got 40. I think that looks like there's more than that. Are there 50? No, 40 hammers. Oh my gosh. Strength 6, and they're stubborn with high leadership, so that is not what Bretonnian knights want to see. There's a cannon, of course, an organ gun to the left. Then he's got this interesting unit. It's 20 Thunderers with a Thane Battle Standard Bearer. But the thing about the Thane is that if you want to charge this unit, you suffer a minus d6 inches to your charge. Now couple that with the Rune of Wrath and Ruin from the Anvil of Doom, which cuts your movement in half. And this unit can really be a force field in front of your lines. Anyway, there's some Longbeards behind him. There's some Slayers to the left. The Slayers have two, I think they're Giant Slayers, Dragon Slayers. They're basically champions. And there's another organ gun, and a cannon in the left corner. I've got Peg Knights and Archers, 4 units of Knights. They're all Knights. Let's see, there's one unit of 12 Knights Errant with the Errantry banner. That's second from the left. All the other units are 9 Knights of the Realm, one of which has 3 characters in it, as you can see. So, yep. Then I've got a large unit of men-at-arms with a level 2 Lore of Beasts. So of course she has transformation. And one thing I cleared with my opponent, it's tricky playing transformation with when you're in a unit with 20mm bases, because the dragon models and stuff like that are 50 by 100, so it always kicks you out of the unit. So with my Bretonnian army, I have an old forest dragon on a 50 by 100 that I typically use for transformation of Canaan, and I asked him if it's okay if I used a Griffin model, which comes on a 40 by 40 base, if I could use that for the lower level monsters. And he said it was cool, and that makes a big difference in how that spell is played in the game. I've got some more bowmen and a trebuchet. So Peg Knight's Vanguard up. They can see the organ gun behind the house. That'd be a nice charge to be able to make. And Dwarf turn 1 goes like that. So he didn't move a whole lot. He's making me come to him, of course. My only plan is I need to get my men-at-arms up into those hammers, but the problem is the men-at-arms move so slowly that I don't know if I can afford to wait, because I'm facing 2 organ guns, 2 cannons, and an Anvil of Doom. But I don't want my knights facing those hammers, so I'm not really sure how to deal with that yet. So he shoots at me. He does... puts a cannonball through this unit, kills the champion and 2 rank and file. But overall, nothing else happened in the shooting phase with this group of knights, so I wasn't too unhappy. Over here, the organ gun behind the house. For some reason, I was thinking I'd get cover, but organ guns don't have to roll to hit, so it rolls up on my Peg Knights and does 5 wounds. I don't know how many wounds he did, but 5 wounds went through. Luckily, I passed my panic, so at least I'll be able to charge the organ gun. I don't know if I can put 3 wounds on it before he sneaks 1 through on me. So, Bretonnian turn 1. I march my archers up. They won't be able to shoot this turn, but they may be able to do something later on. I march my men-at-arms up as fast as I can, but they're still not that fast. Yeah, and other than that, I move my knights up pretty aggressively. I think it's going to take all 4 of those knight units charging his Thunderers in order for one of them to be able to make it, because they're going to be minus d6 inches to their charge. And yeah, so lone champion of the Pegasus Knights charges the organ gun. And yeah, so the trebuchet, I aim it for this, and it hits squarely and just kills a bunch of them. I think it kills 12, which makes that unit at least more manageable. It's still nothing that a unit of Bretonnian Knights wants to face. So the archers on the left, even with a cover save, shoot at the Slayers and take care of pop off a couple of them. So that was kind of, I don't know how significant it is. Let's see, Dwarf turn 2. So he marches on up with his hammers. That Anvil of Doom is so nice to have. I've played with it. I think it makes for interesting movement phases with the dwarfs. And it's hard to foresee some things, but this was not hard to foresee. Yeah, so he did that, and with the Anvil of Doom, declares a charge against my knights. I flee with 1 unit of knights because he was going to beat me and then overrun anyway, and he might have overran into the flank of my general's unit, which I did not want. So I fled the first charge, then he redirected to my general's unit. This was going to be in the front, and I took that. He's going to win that probably, but I'm stubborn with my prophetess. So biggest thing I'm worried about there is losing my characters. So the Thunders open up on 1 unit of knights and kills a few of them. I think I actually kind of got lucky that he only killed 3. And after combat, I did 1 or 2 wounds off his organ gun, but of course he's stuck. So after combat, yeah, I think I did 4 wounds to him. He didn't do any wounds to my rank and file, but he put a lot of attacks on my characters and has my BSB and my general down to a single wound each, and that's really scaring me. I can tell you that my initial plan was to charge my knights at his thunderers, just blow right past these guys and charge my men-at-arms into their flank. But after that round of combat, I just can't afford it. He has to be dead before he rolls again, because hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s, and then I've got a 4 up, 5 up. Obviously, that was not enough. So, yeah, what I did instead is I charged that unit with everything. I figured they're stubborn 9. They're going to stick around forever. The only way we're going to get rid of them is just to kill them dead. So that's what we're going to try to do. The knights that fled rallied, which is kind of nice. I go to the magic phase. I cast Transformation of Canaan for the Black Hydra, which is the killiest of those things I felt. It has 7 attacks. It's got a breath weapon, and it's got Thunderstomp. So that was very nice. She was in the corner, but being a 40 miller, she pushes over, and so now she's touching them. So if he turns her back into a character, I'll have to stay in position in combat. But I think that'll help out trying to get rid of these guys. So my bowmen on the right, they fire at the cannon needing 6s to wound, and boom, they hit enough, got a single wound off. Better than nothing. After combat, it went like that. Yeah, it took us everything we had up until Thunderstomp to kill every single hammer, and that's great because had we gone to Thunderstomp, anybody left still would have been able to attack, and I might have lost a character. As it is, they all died, so that's, I don't know how many, 400 or 500 points off the table right there. It's absolutely huge. We were being very careful in reforming my units, keeping the center the same. I wanted the men-at-arms to go bus formation so that it put them closer to his lines, easier to charge. I reformed 1 unit of knights into a single line so that I would have room for my 2nd unit of knights to be in a lance formation. So overall, it looks like that. And we go to Dwarf turn 3. So the Slayers easily charge the flank of my Peg Knight. They're going to obviously kill him. My only hope is that he can do the single last remaining wound to that organ gun, or else that was all for naught. Yeah, during the magic phase, he turns my... he has nothing else to do with his dice. And actually, he barely got it, but he turned my level 2 back into a regular human. Yeah, shooting opens up, completely obliterates the remaining 6 knights in 1 unit. And this cannon shoots at my knights that don't have a ward save. The cannonball bounces through, hits 3, but he rolls 2 1s when trying to wound them. So I'm not sure how impactful that is, but it's kind of funny. Yeah, so otherwise shooting over here kills a single knight. And yeah, Peg Knight dies, but so does the organ gun. So we go to Bretonnia turn 3, and here we have that invisible shield up. So I declare a charge with my men-at-arms. He takes it. He knows I'm probably going to fail that. Minus D6. Their movement's only 4, so basically, yeah, it's going to be tough. I think it probably was a mistake, but I declared a charge with my Knights Errant. He did a stand and shoot and just ripped through that unit. They're rough. And I don't know if I even tried charge with my General's unit. I think I just moved up. So yeah, just kind of stopping me. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm showing here. Yeah, so during the magic phase, I got Curse of Anhir off, -1 to hit, so it's better than nothing with those guys. Then I think it was my Amber Spear that killed his organ gun, and in the process, getting that irresistible force, I lost 3 levels on my level 4, so she is now a level 1. So the only spell, I think I have Pan's Pelt, I think, but really Transformation is the only spell that is going to matter a whole lot. I decided to go ahead and target the trebuchet on his cannon, hoping I get lucky, and I got lucky. I hit it, and then of course wounded it and did 2 wounds, so the cannon is gone, which was nice. So Dwarf turn 3. This is where it's really interesting to play with the Anvil of Doom, because you just can't tell what's going to happen between the movement phase and then the movement that happens in the shooting phase. So he pulls his BSB out of his Thunderers unit. He reforms them kind of in a weird way so that he can reform his other units and get them looking like that. Then we go to the shooting phase. He goes for Ancient Power and gets it for movement on his guys, so he reforms his Thunderers, which opens up room for his Slayers. And they charged my Knights Errant, and I wanted none of that. They just fled. So that's what it looks like. Yuck. So if I charge my General's unit and my Men-at-Arms into his Thunderers, I don't like how that ends. I could do that if I reform my Knights on the left and then move up to block the Slayers and just force the Slayers to charge my Knights on the left. But then it occurred to me, you know what I could do? I could charge my General's unit at the Anvil of Doom. I only need to roll an 8, and then charge my Men-at-Arms at his Thunderers. And that actually, I think, could work very well. So that's what I decided to do. So I need to roll an 8, and I roll a 7. And I was ready to throw my dice. I mean, I shouldn't have been that way, because even with Swift Stride, rolling, it's not automatic. You're going to roll at least an 8. Yeah, that screwed everything up. Now my General's unit is just right in front of everything. I could not be in a worse position. Yeah, oh my gosh. So Knights on the left, instead of blocking the Slayers, I decided just to go around the house, because if he charges me, I'm just going to have to flee with that unit anyway. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Oh, I was so frustrated. That's the kind of thing that makes Bretonnians fun, though, because you have that movement. If I had an 8, but what I was thinking was that I get it with the Anvil of Doom, and I have Heroic Killing Blow with my General. I might be able just to kill that thing. I'm really glad that I failed it in hindsight, because he has immunity to Heroic Killing Blow, and probably would just get a challenge, and he would just start killing my characters. So I may have gotten lucky. So he charges my General, I flee. Yeah, I'm not taking that. I think he charged with his Thunderers, and I was willing to hold for that, but he charged with his Slayers. There's no way. So his Thunderers redirected to my Men-at-Arms. I take that. His Slayers redirected to my Knights Errant. He needs a high roll, so I take that, and he fails it, which I thought was nice. Yeah, there's that. Shooting opens up on this unit, gets them down to they're pretty much worthless. He has his Longbeards facing him across the house, so now I can charge that cannon, but if I fail it, those Longbeards are going to tear me up. And if I hit the cannon, I better kill him, because if he holds with his Stubborn rule, the Longbeards have a decent chance of charging me, and that would not be good. So during the shooting phase, he tried again to charge the Slayers into my Knights Errant. I again decided just to take it, because he needed a decent roll, and he failed it again. That's another thing I learned on the few occasions I've played using Dwarfs, is that movement 3. You think it's not that big of a deal, you can really struggle getting charges in. So after combat, it went like that. I told him after the game I think he made a mistake not allocating hits on my damsel. He didn't have to, and he chose not to, so whatever. So I won, so I went ahead and reformed, as you can see. I did that for 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't need ranks to stay steadfast with these guys. Number 2, I need to do a lot of wounds really quickly, and this gives me more attacks. And number 3, it changes the direction of pursuit. If I can win next round to combat, and if he flees, the angle is going to be drastically different because of changing formation like that. So Bretonnian turn 5. Yeah, the big news is I go to rally my General's unit, and I fail it. And then I roll like 2 inches. So I was frustrated again because my plan was to reform in a way not in probably like in a conga line, so that I was really close to his Anvil of Doom, so there's no way I could fail that charge. Because if I just turn and face him, he can Wrath and Ruin me and cut my movement in half, and I could fail the charge. Again, in hindsight, it's probably best. It probably just would have killed my characters, but yeah, I failed. I failed to rally. Couldn't believe it. Yeah. So magic phase again. I go for the Black Hydra. Um, you know, basically I'm six dicing this, and he's got 6 or 7 dice to dispel. So I know I have to get lucky to get it off. That in normal situations I would be going for um, the larger version, and in this case with the formation the way it is, if I did the larger version, she would pop out of the unit and would still be able to fight. But my concern is, I think if I win this, I might be able to get a flank charge in those Slayers, and then she wouldn't be able to. So I went for the small version, just doing the Black Hydra, and that's the angle. This is what I'm thinking the whole time, is that's the angle that he's going to run and that I'm going to pursue. And if you take that big, 10-man wide unit, turn it at that angle, and I am hitting the flank of that Slayer unit, which is exactly what we do. We beat the Thunderers, get their points by overrunning them, and then get the flank charge in the Slayers, which is fantastic because I have nothing else, no other good way to deal with those Slayers. So I could have charged him any way I wanted. What I decided to do was to keep my Black Hydra out of the combat, because on his magic phase he's probably going to turn me back to a damsel, and then she would be vulnerable. So that's what we did. Dwarfs turn 6. He, instead of charging my peg knights, or my knights on the left, charged the cannon, and I beat him. Yeah, they killed him or he broke. Either way, then I overran, hoping to go off the board, and I rolled a 3, and I'm still on the board. His Longbeards had a chance to charge me, or he could have marched up and then charged me with the anvil. What he did, which I think was a good move, was he just reformed to face my men-at-arms. Now he's going to use the Anvil of Doom to charge my flank. Except the dwarfs are movement 3. And he failed to charge. I can't complain about anything. That was ridiculously bad. I think he rolled like a 3, probably needed a 4 or something like that. It was ridiculously bad. Now his Slayers are going to get torn up by my men-at-arms. During the magic phase, he turned my Black Hydra back to a damsel. And after combat, I know my lines look ugly, whatever. It is what it is. I do a bunch of damage to him. He's able to reform, which is too little too late, because now I'm just going to do a bunch of wounds to him. So Bretonnia turn 6, my general decides to rally. I thought that was nice of him. Knights Errant, go ahead and charge the flank of that Slayer unit. And I actually made a mistake. He issued a challenge. He had like 2 champions in this unit. It's kind of weird. And I just automatically accept with the champion of my Knights Errant unit. And I didn't need to accept because I wasn't going to lose the ward save, because I didn't have the ward save anyway. Had I not accepted the challenge, I would have killed that last guy. Because I did, I whiffed attacks with my champion. I killed everybody in the unit with a bunch of overkill, but that guy's protected at the challenge, and he sticks, conserving either half points for the unit or whole points, depending on how we score it. And that ends the game there. So, yeah, what a weird topsy-turvy game. At the end, we decided to score it up just to see how we're going to do it. We hadn't really talked about it, but basically we have a living FAQ for the local tournament scene. So there's always a question, like, do we want to score it strictly by the book and by the way that is normally done in the book, or do we allow half points, which is what we usually do for our tournaments? We rolled off on it. It wasn't going to matter anyway, but basically we got half points. So I got half points for a Slayer unit. He got half points for my BSB and my general. It probably worked out roughly the same. Anyway, yeah, after we scored it up, I ended up winning by about 1,000 points, which really surprised me. I thought it was going to be real close, but I guess now in retrospect, looking at the table, he only has his Anvil of Doom and his Longbeards and Battle Standard Bearer, and I've got everything you can see. So that was it. Bretonnia against Dwarves. Bretonnia take it. Hope you enjoyed it.